and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Oh, good morning, all you fine people. Good to see you. Here we are again. It seems like just yesterday I was right here, or earlier today. Oh my God, sorry for running a little bit late this morning. I had a puppy that was bleeding, and we couldn't figure out what it was, and what had happened is he had gotten a little sticker in his paw and pulled on it enough that it like started bleeding. So it was in his fur. We had to figure out how to get the blood to stop and everything. But he's good now. He's good now. He's he made those little squeaks and squawks, but he's good now. Yeah, last night's show was epic. If you missed it, oh yeah, it was really good. It was really good. And I'll have the book up, the actual letter up later today. It will be up. Yamaha, he was killing me last night. Oh, it was so good. It was so much fun. So much fun. And then I've got I also do have a song and a video. I'll probably edit it at lunchtime or something like that. It's good. Trust me. You'll enjoy it quite a bit. And everybody, thank you for coming over to Rumble last night. Hey, Captain Corn, how you doing? Hey, it's me. Good morning, Whiz. Hallmark Channel researchers say they almost have developed a new plot. Yamaha's Lithbite is so fantastic. Yes, it is. Good morning. Oh my gosh, we got a quick morning that we're going to have to go through. I've got oh yeah, that's right. I may not be able to edit that at lunch today. Yeah, I'm going to be out of office today. Doggone it. I have to go into the office today. No working from home. Darn it. It'll be good though. I hope you're enjoying your coffee this morning. Good to see everyone. Volstorm, how you doing, brother? Oh my gosh, yeah, it's gonna be pretty quick today. The morning briefing. See, what is this guy doing? Don't they know you're not supposed to walk around with your hand raised up like that, because then they have all these kinds of things to say they're not true. Self-deport gets my early vote for phrase of the year. Top of the briefing. This is from Stephen Cruiser. Morning briefing, friends. Don't tariffs end on the world on Monday? I've been so dead from the end of the net neutrality all these years that I just can't keep up with every single damn apocalypse that the Dems are crying about. The always high drama of the Trump-hating left loons was higher than usual as we came out of last weekend. I saw people gleefully speculating that President Trump would run out of office because iPhones were going to cost $1 gajillion or something. I was overwrought. It was an overwrought version of the walls are closing in on Trump fantasy that the Dems have been leg humping since he was first elected in 2016. As my good friend Kevin wrote yesterday, Trump is doing fine just this week. It's those people who oppose that the president is trying to accomplish or shouldn't be here who are having a rough go of it. Let's take a look at the latter group this morning. This is from a post Matt wrote yesterday. President Trump is done playing games with illegal immigrants who refuse to leave after receiving deportation orders. The administration, they announced a bold new plan to impose hefty $998 fines on daily fines on the migrants who overstay their deportation orders. It's not stopping there either. It will also seize the property of those who don't play up. We must throw them all. My, what a difference having a determined and successful businessman in the Oval Office makes. This is the kind of federal revenue generating I can get behind. People who want to crash a country illegally and live on that country's time have most of Europe open to them to live out that dream. Bugger off, eat some shepherd's pie already. There was some more meaty news about the Biden open borders policy being over, which Rick wrote about. Oh, there was another bit of massive overreach of immigration law, which Biden's designation of the Customs and Border Protection phone application, CBP-1, as a way to enter the U.S. legally until migrants plead for asylum was heard. More than 900,000 people were allowed to enter the U.S. with virtually no vetting. Well, Trump has now ended their program as well, ordering those who entered the U.S. using the CBP-1 app to leave immediately. Biden's massive misuse of the immigration payroll system was usually reserved for small numbers of refugees. The unheard of numbers of nearly 1 million migrants entering the country under a system that allowed migrants to live and work in the U.S. legally for 2 years now has ended. Canceling those payrolls is a promise kept to the American people to secure our borders and protect national security. Department of Homeland Security Media Affairs Unit said, the migrants were urged to self-deport. It's like self-destruct. The Biden years featured an endless torture of the rule of law and the pursuit of fundamentally transforming the United States into something unrecognizable. That's what President Trump and his administration are up against, cleaning up the havoc that Biden's open borders obsession wrought is a daunting and complex task. President Trump and his administration are dealing with the illegal alien problems of the last 4 years. However, long before Sir Sniffle-Lots got into the White House, the open borders Democrats were aided and abetted by weak Republicans who were afraid of having someone mean say about them. And the New York Times or on CNN, the lunacy of almost all the Democrats' immigration policies is quickly exposed when one attempts to find other countries to do things in similar fashion. Spoiler alert, you can't just waltz into another country without so much as a cursory background check and be allowed to work. Next time an open borders Dem gets you in your face, dare them to try it. I'm rather enjoying the bit of panache that Trump, Tom Homan, and others are having when dealing with the relocation of the migrants who arrived here via the Biden Pandora's box of nightmare immigration policy, telling some of them to self-deport. It's one of the most baller moves I've ever seen. It's a more diplomatic way of telling them, don't let that door hit your ass on the way out, okay? I think President Trump has made it clear by now that listening to him is a wiser move than running to a judge who has a Lincoln Project tramp stamp and hoping to delay the inevitable. It will be interesting to see how many heed that suggestion. Just so you know, everything isn't awful. Oh, look at the little wiener. You want to see the little wiener run again? Watch the little wiener run again. Oh, I mean, come on. Well, you had a little growl in there. Yeah, yeah, but we do have psychopaths out there. Bill Gates is lobbying the White House to reverse USAID cuts. Report says the cuts made to the so-called foreign aid USA agency USAID, which doesn't actually have humanitarianism as its primary purpose, is the first days of the Trump 2.0 administration affected various global jib-jab initiatives, many of which were pet projects of self-stylized philanthropist William Gates. Soon after his January 20th inauguration, President Donald Trump moved to dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Development, cutting more than 80% of contracts and freeing billions of dollars for everything from emergency food assistance to malaria prevention. The Trump administration, led by the State Department, is reviewing what kinds of foreign aid would remain under its America First policy, with a list of around 30 global health projects for consideration, one of the sources said. The list includes organizations such as Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, as well as the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, among others. They're on the short list for review by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Trump. The U.S. gives around $300 million annually to Gavi and more than $1 billion to the Global Fund. Several projects under the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR, are also on the review shortlist, the source said. In an attempt to ensure these projects remain federally funded, Gates has reportedly been quietly lobbying the administration behind the scenes to protect the billions that flow to his nonprofit ventures. Putting aside the ultimate question of why Bill Gates isn't under a federal prison, why do we allow creatures like this to slink around the White House trying to convince Trump, our duly elected president, and his lieutenants to reinstate his own personal scheme that for some reason require public subsidy, even though Gates' net worth of $108 billion? And continuing, well, Bill Gates is personally lobbying Trump administration officials to keep funding health programs worldwide, from childhood vaccination to HIV treatment, and warning that his foundation cannot step into it to fill the gaps, two sources familiar with the matter told Reuters. Bill was recently in Washington, D.C., meeting with decision makers to discuss the life-saving impact of U.S. international assistance and need for a strategic plan to protect the world's most vulnerable while safeguarding America's health and security, said a spokesman for the Gates Foundation's charitable organization. Gates told the officials he met with the foundation cannot replace the role of U.S. government, the sources said. Gates Foundation directors have also said publicly there's no foundation that has that capability. So let this serve as our friendly periodic reminder that billionaire philanthropists aren't really playing with their own money. It's the house's money. As Ben Barty has reported several years ago, it came to light well into Trump's administration that Gates had gone to Trump back in December of 2016 when he was president-elect to pressure him not to look into vaccine safety, which President was reportedly considering doing at the time at the behest of the now HHS Secretary RFK Jr. According to Gates' account of the encounter, in both those two meetings, Trump asked me if vaccines weren't a bad thing because he was considering a commission to look into the ill effects of vaccines. And I said, no, that's a dead end. That would be a bad thing. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, we all know what happened 4 years later. How they just really cannot handle it. They just can't handle it. Good morning, Lita. How you doing, Lily? Nanny goat. Oh, my heart. Cuteness. Yes, that was cuteness, Tammy. So cuteness. Oh, yeah, puppies. I mean, how can you not love having the puppies around? I guess just as much as you would love having the complaint about mental health after student centers closed. But who's complaining? It's the elemental PQIRXTUVY, whatever you want to call yourself at that moment in time, because, you know, there's only two genders. College students suffer horribly under brutal Texas anti-DEI law, survey says. It's time to break out the tiny violins. Well, let's break out those tiny violins real quick. We'll just have to find them. Give me a second. It'll take me just a second to break that out, because you've got to have it. You have to have the music for it. If you don't have the music for the tiny violins, then we're missing something here. Yes, let me find that really quick. Give me just a second. I have to break out the tiny violins here. Just it takes time to process. You know, this is what happens whenever you don't read things before they come up on your screen. It's time to break out our tiny violins, folks. Ready the tissues. Put your concerned face on. Fill your empathy reservoir. What's happening to the genderqueer adult children of Texas simply shocks the conscience. This is the queer students, the college students, the employees in Texas say they've lost valuable resources and feel less safe in their campuses as a result of the state's anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion law, which went into effect in January of 2024, according to new campus climate report from the advocacy nonprofit Equality Texas. The legislation, SB 17, banned DEI offices and resource centers, which it defined as anything that conducts trainings, the programs, activities designed to implement in reference to race, to colors, to ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and all other kinds of bullshit we couldn't all fit in here, at public colleges and universities. As a result, most of the state's 36 public universities shuttered their queer student centers, spaces where students could go, help and get help from staff, attend events, use resources, and simply hang out with other LBGT students and allies. Do these children not have dorm rooms or apartments where they can simply hang out with other gay students and allies? They require their own specialty state-funded resource centers to find affinity groups. They're so fragile and infantilized that they can't build their own social networks and require the state to find friends for them. Tran-H. Well, continuing, the students at public universities told interviewers that in shuttered DEI offices and into queer resource centers, their campuses have eliminated a wealth of important resources, from assistance for those navigating gender-affirming healthcare to career closets where students can borrow professional attire for job interviews. Elsie Kindell, Equality's Texas Government Affairs Associate and lead researcher on the report, said that the thing most students said they missed was simply having the physical space available to them, whether as a place to relax between classes or somewhere between the gay student organization could meet. So we see why the pharmaceutical industry, which has its tentacles all over institutes of higher learning, which might not be thrilled about the DEI crackdown, as these student centers function in part as funnels to shoot confused young adults over their local surgeon for some lucrative genital reassignment surgery. A person of color student complained that student organizations are forced to pick up the slack on behalf of their gender diverse comrades, which they feel should be compensated for by you and me and the American taxpayers. Students can also report that their organizations are now in charge of handling programs and events that were previously under purview in the DEI office. In other cases, these groups have been stonewalled right up against the wall, and students report that their colleges made it more difficult to create new initiatives to support the gay peoples. Student and organizations now work feels like a job rather than an extracurricular, and we're not getting properly compensated for our work, said one interviewee, whom the report identified as a student of color at the public institution. Well, that's right. They're so dedicated to the cause out of the purity of their heart that the second they might be forced to expend their own resources and effort, the government subsidy, that they threaten to quit until they get the cash flow restored. Michigan judge allows fired white IBM workers discrimination lawsuit to proceed. In the furtherance of its DEI goals, IBM allegedly fired a white male employee despite stellar performance record, as indicated by their prior reviews, via HR Drive. IBM must face a former worker's charge that discriminated against him for being a white male, a Michigan district court determined on Wednesday. Dill versus International Business Machines Court. The former employee in IBM's consulting division alleged that despite consistently positive reviews, the company suddenly placed him on a performance improvement plan. And in 23, then terminated him in October when he contended the reasons used that he was not to bring work or meeting client demand were a pretext to fire him in order to further IBM's diversity goals. The pretext argument had merit, Judge Harlaula Jaharahua determined, because the structure of IBM's diversity program may have incentivized its managers to discriminate against white males, she said. Maybe the judge finally feels free to do the right thing, or maybe the constant threats from the GOP start impeaching the rogue judges in the state and the federal levels got to her. Whatever the reason, it's hard to imagine that these lawsuits allowed to proceed with the same regularity under the Brandon regime. Yes, all of it sounds so sauce. I don't know what to tell you. Good. Yeah, the affinity groups are just killing me. But there is good news on the way, because just think about this. Tariffs are the reason to cut taxes and red tape. Do you think that'll happen? I don't know. See, I'm no economist, so whenever I read these things, I just go, I don't know. It could be a good thing. If there's one thing supporters and opponents of President Donald Trump's tariffs should agree on, it's the need to unchain prosperity at home while international trade is in flux. Well, don't trade in flux. Flux is a sweetheart, and you start trading flux, and she'll probably have to hurt you. That means renewing the president's first-term tax cuts for a start, but it also calls for a sweeping regulatory reform, like a Doge-like approach to slice the red tape, entangling businesses at home. Trump has attempted a little less than a revolution on the global economy by reasserting American economic independence, no matter the risks or pain. He says trade deficits is inherently bad, and America's deficit in goods traded with the world totaled $1.2 trillion last year. When Americans buy foreign products, some of the dollars they spend cycle back home as foreigners use the currency to acquire American companies, foreign direct investment, or invest in U.S. stocks, government debt, and other securities, foreign portfolio. Trump wants Americans to buy American-made goods, however, which will keep more of the dollars in this country. They won't go into foreign banks' reserves, for example. If Americans start buying from domestic manufacturers, the first thing their dollars will do is encourage more production at home, as manufacturers plow profits into building more factories, hiring more workers to raise output and meet the growing demand. The president sees this as all upside. Instead of the trading dollars for stuff made elsewhere, we'll keep the dollars here, make the goods ourselves, and more citizens will get hired to produce them, especially when the Rust Belt takes states pivotal to Trump's election victories. Well, the downside will appear, though, if domestic production can't make up for the loss of foreign goods. If our manufacturers are less efficient than foreign firms that they have to replace, Americans will be left paying higher prices and getting less of what they want. Even if domestic producers are up to the task, they can't build factories overnight, although this suddenness in the tariffs gives them the utmost incentive to start right away. Stock prices, by contrast, can respond instantly and have by tanking. Market expectations have been blown to bits. Trump isn't reforming international trade, he's wrecking the system. He could be bluffing. Maybe he just wants maximum leverage over the nations for negotiations on everything from trade barriers to immigration to global security. But if Trump stays the course, he'll either create a radically new economy, one more akin to that of the 19th century, that the globalized conditions we'd become used to, or he'll give new meaning to American carnage. Yet even those who fear the worst, as free market advocates do, should make the best of the situation by joining forces with Trump on the next phase of his agenda. Trump's plan, and depends, after all, on the competitiveness of domestic producers. They have to be able to boost output quickly, which they can't do when strangled by red tape. And if price shocks result from tariffs reduce the overall supply of goods, consumers will need whatever tax relief they can get to offset higher costs. Free market advocates would rather get rid of the tariffs, but while they fight the administration on that front, they should cooperate with it to cut taxes and regulations. And that's always been one of the biggest problems that I've dealt with in my entire life, is the amount of taxes that you pay. It's insane. It really is, if you think about it. Because you're taxed when the money comes to you, taxed whenever the money goes away from you. You're taxed just to hold it. I mean, yeah, if you can't resolve some of those taxes, you know, first thing you do is you cut what government is doing, what they're spending on. I see the next 4 years as being quite rough with the monies. Free market advocates would rather get rid of the tariffs, but while they fight the administration on that front, they should cooperate with it. Critics consider tariffs a tax on Americans, as foreign producers pass the higher cost of selling their goods on to us. Yet there are limits to what consumers can and will pay, and raising prices means selling fewer goods, so garnering less profit, or else cutting profits to keep prices down to sustain market share. He's correct in that. Those costs, reduced profits, come at the expense of foreign capital, not American consumers. But whoever winds up paying for the tariffs, putting more money in the consumers' pockets by lowering other taxes, is the smart thing to do, and it dovetails with Doge's mission of making government cheaper and leaner. From an orthodox, free market perspective, the less benefit there is from foreign trade, the more imperative it becomes to lower taxes and promote entrepreneurship at home. For an economist nationalist like Trump, ramping up domestic production requires not only slapping tariffs on foreign goods, but making sure consumers have ample cash to spend on American products, especially if prices are initially higher. Tax cuts give them that money, and regulatory relief quickens the pace for domestic production to replace lost foreign trade, pulling prices back down. Whether a more robust domestic economy is needed to mitigate the damage inflicted by tariffs, as free market conservatives say, or to take the place of the global economy itself, as national conservatives say, Republicans should renew Trump's tax cuts and make American businesses environment great again. Now, see, like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't have the answer. I think that there's a lot of moving parts within all of it that can be like detrimental to the United States. Maybe not. We'll see. You just keep doing what you can. All I know is that the cost of gas goes up, the cost of groceries goes up, cost of living goes up, and my income doesn't increase. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Would be smart to make penicillin and other medication in the US and not China. It would be smart to make a lot of things in the United States and not elsewhere. But, how else are you going to get your TV quicker to you? The brand new latest Sony, Samsung, whatever it is that you're watching, your newest computer chip and all that. But you realize all those the tech sector's gotten hit really hard. And like I said, I'm no economist. I'm not a smart man, but I know whenever there's some bad stuff coming, when look where your tariffs are being thrown at. That's why the tech sector has been hit so hard, and why I got rid of like almost all of my tech stocks, like rid of all of them. Like I said, I'm no economist. I just, I figured, well, I got to get rid of it anyway, so why not work on those? And of course, then you'll have your 10-year bonds and treasuries and all that kind of stuff will sort of go popping off. And, it's cyclical. It happens. Stock market goes up, stock market goes down. I mean, people tend to forget what it looked like during the pandemic. Everything crashed. Like seriously, everything crashed. And then all of a sudden, you had the whole GameStop, and was it AMC? There was a few others that were involved in all that, where they were shorting stocks because they were hoping that those companies would go under. And so they would short the stock. Like that was bad. They were looking to make lots of money by forcing the price down on the stock. Now imagine them doing that on a global scale. You know how many millions of dollars that these companies make off of whenever things go boom, whenever they go down. Yeah. Good morning. Rumble video won't play. It keeps giving an error. It may be uploading. You may have to refresh it. I've seen that happen before. I can look real quick and see. Does Rumble library. Let's see what happens. No, it works. There's something wrong on your end if it's not working. I'm telling you right now, it works. I'll show you what I mean. See, this is the Rumble thing. Watch.
For me, you might as well start calling me something respectable. Maybe Daddy Shizzy.
So it works. I'm telling you, it works. I know that it does. So there you go. Yes. See? Looked ahead and started getting needy last year. I have what I need for the rest of my life, except for the transportation issue. I remember the Dow hitting 10,000. It was unthinkable. Yeah. There's lots of things that were unthinkable. So you're good, Silhouette. It'll work. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to refresh the whole thing. Like if it was open, yeah, just go back and check. It'll happen. It's good. It's good. I just watched it. That's why I'm late. Oh, are you? And I hope you enjoyed it. It'll be interesting to see how crazy that one's gonna take off. And Yamaha reading that last night, oh my gosh, he had me in stitches so much. Oh, and there was something I forgot to mention yesterday, but I will mention that probably tonight. But we do have a filing coming out tonight on that, and that's if he files. We'll see. I think he's panicking right now in a weird kind of way. I have so much to do today. You have no idea. I'm going to grab some more coffee. I will be back in just 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Step aside, y'all, it's my time to shine. I'm feeling the groove with these hips of mine. Hands in the air like spaghetti gone rogue. My knees are jelly and my hips just broke. Shaking it, breaking it, what a blast. Wobble it, wiggle it, shake that ass. Do a jig or a jog, wiggle it to the side, or break that hip bone by moving your ass. Step up or stand aside. My shoulders pop like a rusty hinge. My fingers point like they're on a binge. Twirl like a tornado, then drop real low. It's not planned, it's a shit sideshow. I've got the rhythm of a clock that's broke. My dance floor moves are a big effing joke. Shaking it, breaking it, what a blast. Wobble it, wiggle it, shake that ass. Do a jig or a jog, wiggle it to the side, or break that hip bone by moving your ass. Step up or stand aside. Mesmerizing glow. You can't help but watch me steal the show. I summon the shake, the shimmy, the twist, a mix of genius and a big old fist. You're drawing close, your feet start to twitch, feeling the groove like a broke-ass bitch. Yeah! Shaking it, breaking it, what a blast. step up or stand aside. Now we're all in the shake, no need to be shy. Move like spaghetti and reach for the sky. We'll dance like we're cursed, laugh till we're sore. Shizzy Whiz reigns forevermore. So join the dance, let your weirdness unfurl. We're shaking ass, not a care in the world.
Oh, good to see you, Tom Gillis. Ah, yes. How you doing? Good to see you this morning, sir. I saw you there for a second. Golfing struck in. Where in the F is spring? I'm with you on that. It has gotten chilly here too. Oh my gosh, it has gotten so chilly. Yes. Okay, I'll be listening for now. I've got to drive. So have fun, chat. Talk to you later. Well, I have my favorites. Thanks, Tammy's cuz. Appreciate you. I don't think he's going to run on this one. Donations will keep him here for a while, but when he realizes how hard the Fed 2 is going to hit him, he'll run. Judgment's good for 10 years, renewable 10 more. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You never know what's going to happen. Is that a picture of you buck naked? Look at that. Look at that sharp looking man right there. Looks a lot like my uncle. Are you my uncle? No, I did. I could tell it's not. Oh, I love that music, Shizzy. Oh, and by the way, I will be updating the video on there. So everybody that's getting creeped out by the gray man, you won't have to look at that anymore. I will update it. I hope all is having better weather than Northern Illinois. They're just wintry mix. Oh yeah, yeah. You get that lake effect snow. People go, that makes no sense. Yeah, until you experience it, then you're like, yeah, that's freaking cold. Yeah, the guy in the gray and the kid in the green. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I can always update a lot of this stuff to it, which I will. Just hold on. I can only do so much. I actually wanted to put together something that was a little bit different than that for that song originally, but it was just so perfect with the dancing. Gosh. But new information reveals just how much the FBI was trying to protect Zonta Biden. Law enforcement veteran discusses disturbing new report which confirms his fears about the previous leadership in the agency. For a while there, I definitely held a grudge against the FBI. I mean, how could I not? They were treating Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, with careful handling while at the same time tearing apart Donald Trump's estate at Mar-a-Lago, looking for classified documents, going after grandmothers and grandfathers that wandered into the mall. And when we have our infiltration of private American citizens over something they said in chat rooms and online forums, which is an entirely different powdered keg that we're not going to go into today. But this week, some new information confirmed just what I feared. Under the leadership of Biden, the FBI was, in fact, playing favorites. Surprise! A report from the New York Post revealed that via a series of FBI chat logs, the agency had imposed an internal gag order when it came to anything surrounding Hunter Biden's infamous laptop. And what's worse, they actually went out of their way to make sure that an agent was admonished for saying that the agency had launched an active investigation into the matter. This is all according to several FBI chat logs, which were posted on the official House Judiciary GOP account over on X. In it, you can see that they made it very clear that they should not talk about the Biden matter to any extent. The FBI's campaign to discredit the Post story continued even after it was published on October 4th, 2020. That morning, one FBI analyst tried to tell Twitter that the laptop was real until his bosses told him to shut the F up. That's absurd. At a time when Trump was under heavy scrutiny as it was, Biden was going out of his way to make sure the FBI was treating his son like an untouchable royalty. And need I remind you that no one is above the law, but apparently in this case, that's not what old Joel thought. And he held that belief all the way until 5 minutes before Trump was inaugurated, whenever he managed to give like blanket immunity. An internal FBI chat log newly obtained by the committee shows the FBI deliberately withheld information about the FBI having Hunter Biden's laptop and an ongoing criminal investigation involving the Biden family's corruption. Do not discuss the Biden matter. This comes on the heels of a previous report filed back in October 2024, noting federal agencies repeatedly warned social media platforms about a pre-election Russian influence operation relating to Hunter Biden and the Ukraine company Burisma. In the many of those meetings between federal agencies and big tech, the FBI raised the topic of potential hack and leak operations amid conversations about election security and the potential foreign influence operations. In response, some platforms even adopted new content moderation policies specifically designed to address hacked materials. Currently, the FBI has no statement on the matter, but it wouldn't surprise me if the new FBI Director Kash Patel launched some sort of investigation into it, and rightfully so. We've got a government agency that is sworn to protect the rights of innocent people, essentially saying that they'll treat Hunter Biden with kid's glove because of his father, plain and simple. But what angers me further is how they would try to stop an agent who is merely doing his effing job and reporting on the matter and attempting to get to the bottom of the situation. Like that's like a waiter spilling a mess on the floor and then being yelled at when he tries to clean it up. Does that make any sense to anyone? I do hope something comes from this. Obviously, Hunter Biden is in the clear because good old Joe couldn't watch his son go to jail, but I hope Patel and other FBI take a closer look and see just how much the agency was messing up under the Biden regime and, for that matter, work with the House Judiciary GOP into some form of investigation. Once again, no one is above the law, not even daddy's little boy. If something was atrocious here, and it sure smells like it was, then justice must be served, plain and simple. Let me fix that right quick because I hate whenever that banner just keeps floating across there. It's like a turd that just won't go down the drain. Oh my gosh. I gotta read this one. Oh, it's gonna be so good. These are such beautiful mornings like this. I love mornings like this. Trump stacks win as commies weep into their soy lattes. The way Trump is fighting the globalists, you would think they'd try to bankrupt, imprison, and assassinate the man. Oh, jeez. I've had fun watching my leftoid Chicken Little Dunder, but friends, I still have a few, frantically selling off their 401ks the last few days, despite every indication that the stock market would eventually return to baseline. Just 1 week after Trump's Liberation Day, when he walloped the world with new tariffs, roughly 70 countries have bent the knee and offered to negotiate new terms. Stock surged. I laughed. As my live friends happily dance into the fire of the stock market slaughter, Trump is now racking up victories against every commie activist judge bent on thwarting the return of the American dream. One would think booting illegal immigrants who are members of the violent gang out of the country would be a no-brainer, but no-brain communist judges believed otherwise until the Supreme Court ruled that Trump can indeed boot the invaders under the Enemy Alien Act of 1796. I gotta see this. I just can't help it. It's just too funny. Yeah, right there. This right here is someone that has broken the law in the U.S. government, being shipped out to other countries and sent back to their nice little home countries of whence they came, where they caused all kinds of havoc there, and now they're set to face the pain back in their home countries. Shipping them out is not a bad thing. Shipping them to one of the most secure prisons where they put all the gang members is not a bad thing to do. And it's come to the point of we're not playing anymore. Time to take Little Miss Sunshine to school. Have a great day, y'all. You too, Elka. You have a wonderful day also. Whereas Democrats are bemoaning the mere fact that our nation will lose to a bunch of grapists and red rummers, I miffed at the vote that came down a mere 5-4 win. I expected the three patriotic activist SCOTUS judges to vote for our nation's downfall, but Amy Coney Barrett. Sadly, this decision didn't come soon enough to save a 13-year-old Oscar Hernandez. 13-year-old Oscar Omar Hernandez was raped and deleted in Los Angeles last week. Police have just arrested 43-year-old Margio Eduardo Garcia Aquino, an illegal alien from El Salvador, and believe there are more victims. Not ready to open the bar? Well, I've got more. Just as Trump got the go-ahead to continue de-infestrating illegal gangsters, SCOTUS delivered another gut punch to the roadblock judges trying to stop the Trump train. A San Francisco judge tried to force the Trump administration to reinstate 16,000 federal workers Trump had pink slipped. Not today, commies. Once again, the Supreme Court had a better idea. Trump had far more temporary restraining orders placed on him by lower court judges than any other president in modern history. If your funny bone can't handle another belly laugh, and in case you're quite ready to pour yourself a bourbon, well, I'm not drinking bourbon, but I am drinking coffee. Bourbon comes at night. The Trump administration just revoked the protected status of roughly 985,000 immigrants who had used Biden-era app to invade our nation. CBP, one, let them make an appointment and schedule a court hearing, which most of them wouldn't have attended anyway. Trump yanked their status even though they are already spread out across our fruited plains. Bonus shotorama, oil prices just hit a 4-year low. Still on that wagon? What if I told you Trump just fired yet another woke NATO admiral who not only refused to hang photos of Trump and Pete Hegseth in her office, but told her entire staff that she planned to wait them out for 4 years. So Trump won 2 magnificent victories in the Supreme Court, oil prices at a record low. Another woke admiral is gone and the world is lining up to renegotiate their usurping tariffs against we the people. And you still won't always want with me. Time to break out the big guns. Well, get my coffee. Oh, Steve Inman. I love that guy. If this just doesn't make you jump on Tuesday Booze Day, I can only assume you've given up corn squeezing for Lent. And I'm going to have to mute it as soon as it starts.
Well, if you want to act...
Yep. Watch this. Boom. Took his shoe completely off. Just running a red light. And what happened? On his e-bike? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. You want to act like an ass? You get truck like one. Don't do crap like this. Let's keep the midweek libations flowing with a quick video from our funny friends at Jokes and Point. Remember, patriots are funny, communists suck, and everything, everyone resembling a sense of humor. I'm not watching that. Not doing that. That would just get me in all kinds of problems right there. Thank you, Kevin Downey. He's a comedian, columnist, and radio talk show host. Whenever he isn't writing or performing, he's collecting surf records and practicing his mixologist skills at his tiki bar, his apartment, the Atomic Bunker, which looks like it was furnished from George Jetson's garage sale. Yeah. Short over. I missed fun stuff, please. That's what I thought. Jim and Nanny Coat. Well. Here's a question for you. Really interesting one. Think about this. Why are Democrats always rooting for the bad guys? The Democrats are still wandering in the political wilderness and continuing to insist that all they need is better messaging, even though there is considerable debate among themselves about just what the message is. From the perspective of the right side of the aisle, the message seems pretty clear. Dems are quite fond of criminals, terrorists, fleecing American taxpayers via government fraud and waste, etc., etc., etc. They will tell you that this isn't true, of course. They'll also tell the people who will tell you that the government can give you free stuff. Democrats have been lying to themselves and the American people for so long that the party elites would break out in hives if they were honest about anything for more than a few seconds. Watching President Trump and his administration work since January 20th has only reinforced the above-mentioned brutal but honest assessment of the Democratic Party. The America Last judges that Joe Biden littered the judiciary with have tried to thwart every effort to rid of the federal bureaucracy of waste and save American citizens from the threat of violent illegal alien criminals. The Dem affinity for the illegal gangs was really perplexing. perplexing. We all know that Democrats championed open borders and amnesty because they want to instantly mint new voters who are beholden to them. It matters not that illegal immigrants are put off by this because it's all a numbers game, and they think they can import more people than they can alienate. Dems are constantly pushing policies that would essentially create a pipeline of illegal blood for them to bring into the party fold. They don't care if thousands upon thousands of red rummus and grapists make it through the pipeline. It's not really surprising coming from a party that elevated Ted Kennedy to demigod status. Democrats have long had a warped view of good and bad. During the latter part of the Cold War, Dems were vigorous apologists for a lot of what the Soviet Union was doing. In fact, after about 1963, they never really viewed Russia as a threat again until they decided to make one up in the collusion hoax of 2016. As I wander each morning through the digital insane asylums located at the opinion section of the New York Times and Washington Post, I see one example of another after of leftists explicitly and implicitly rooting against anything that Trump does, no matter what the potential upside is for the American people. They're so in full cut off your nose to spite your face mode that every day, given that Trump's efforts will make all our lives better in their twisted world, he's the supreme evil, and Trent Aragula thugs are wearing the white hats. Even when he's dealing with Iran, there's a palpable sense that the media lefties are rooting against Trump. It would be a liberal sacrilege if any of them so much as speculated what the president was trying to accomplish might be good, not only for the United States, but for the rest of the world as well. Orange Man bad must be demonized at all times, even when he's dealing with the bankroller of Islamic terrorism. True, it's easy to attribute all of this to Trump's derangement syndrome, but it's just as easy to say that Democrats are so vehemently anti-Semitic and anti-Israel now that they harbor fantasies about being co-sponsors of terrorism in the Middle East. I sincerely wish that I was merely being sarcastic and mean on this point, but I'm not. I would like to be wrong about all of this, but it's disheartening to see the major opposition party cheerleading the destruction of the republic and the rest of the new free world along with it. We all know how the communist utopia story they're trying to sell ends. It's like this right here. The party of gender-confused surrender monkeys. Somehow it's been overlooked by the mainstream media, probably because it's not that important, but in 12 days, it'll be the 30th anniversary of the creation of the now timeless taunt, cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Per groundskeeper, Willie supported Annunciation. I can't show that because it'll probably give me a nice little copyright thing. The Simpsons episode Round Springfield aired on April 30th, 1995. It was a really good episode, too. It was the first time a recurring character, toothbrush-deprived Jasmine, Bleeding's Gums Murphy, was killed off and tackled typical themes like grief and guilt. But the most famous for the cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Credit John Goldberg for redirecting the taunt into his political sphere for his 1999 National Review column, Cheese-Eating Surrender Monkeys from Hell, and later on the run-up to the Iraq War. Shortly thereafter, UK's Nigel Farage used it in a debate with Tony Blair. Soon it went mainstream. Anthony Bourdain repeated it in his book. TV host snickered at on car shows, and one of the British journalists even declared it the most famous and some of all. Behesting, bigoting, could you, and capitulator, and all that were recognizing Microsoft spell check software's real legitimate words, which probably means, well, something. Oh, hell with it. We'll show it.
Bonjour, you cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
It's impossible to pinpoint exactly why cheese-eating surrender monkeys made it such bidet-like splash on the public consciousness. Comedy, after all, defines conventional destructionists. A good joke is always much more than the sum total of its parts. When you overthink it, you lose the forest for the trees. Still, for whatever reason, the phrase is just perfect. Cheese-eating surrender monkeys perfectly encapsulate the smug, smarmy, entitled French and their knee-jerk impulse to wave the white flag at the first sign of adversity and suckle at the toes of the dictator du jour. Why do French tanks have 5 gears for reverse but only 1 for forward in case they're attacked from behind? But alas, the French aren't the only surrender monkeys in the political jungle. You don't need to travel to Western Europe to witness surrender monkeys in their native habitat. There's plenty of them right here in the United States. On April 2nd, Donald Trump announced Liberation Day. In doing so, he declared a trade war on the rest of the world. Or perhaps more accurately, President Trump recognized that trade war was already raging and finally decided to protect the homeland. Last year, the U.S. government collected about $80 billion in tariffs and fees on imports, a mere smidgen of the $4.2 trillion collected in taxes. Pay over $200 billion per year in VAT taxes to foreign governments, a double whammy on U.S. companies who pay the tax at the European border, while European companies don't pay tax to the United States on the income from their exports to the U.S. We also lose up to $800 billion annually on intellectual theft, counterfeit products, and pirated technology when leaving the United States with $1 trillion trade deficit. That's a hell of an imbalance, and it's not imaginary. And frankly, it doesn't require much of imagination to recognize how more equitable alignment would boost to U.S. companies, shift the tax burden off the backs of hardworking Americans, and allow domestic innovation, investment, and opportunity to blossom. Nobody said it would be easy, but as far as the promised lands go, one of Trump's describing is pretty damn good. Liberation Day was just 6 days ago, and it hasn't even been a week yet, and the Democrat Party is already waving the white flag. The new Dem chair, House Republicans joined Democrats to end Trump's trade war chaos, screamed a press release on Monday, just 5 days after Liberation Day. Good thing these Democrats weren't guiding the Israeli government during the 6-day war. On day 5, they would have said, gosh, guys, it's probably surrender now. Enough's enough. The mainstream media and never Trump nimrods acted like monkeys too. Our old pal Joe Scarborough piously warned MSNBC viewers, and all 7 of them, about Trump's self-induced war. Republicans are not powerless here. The GOP-controlled Congress has more power to stop Trump's trade war. They have more power to moderate it. They have the constitutional power to decide if 46% tariffs are too much to push on Vietnam. They have the power to make this less tough on American businesses. They have the power to talk and negotiate with the president, come up with something that's not quite as extreme. If you hear Republicans saying they can't do anything, that's just a lie. Americans can't fall for these lies. They must understand that when the administration goes on television and says that this has to be done, they're not telling the truth. When American Republicans refuse to stand up to Trump and tell the American people they can't do anything about it, that's not true either. It's doublespeak. But if this really is truly a war, why is one side on the aisle pushing so hard for an American surrender? Once again, it hasn't even been a week. In World War II, it took Germans over 6 weeks, May 10th to June 2025, to conquer France. Yet the Democrat Party, never Trump Republicans, and the mainstream media are pleading to surrender after less than a week. Who knew today's Democrats had 1/6 the courage of the French? Therefore, it's time to remove these cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Mantle from the backs of Pierre and Jock, and hoist it onto the soldiers of our domestic North American simians. What's fair is fair. Only today, Democrats don't eat cheese. They're lactose intolerant, and besides, dairy conflicts with their vegan lifestyle. We're exploiting the cows, man. So we got to do some creative editing. Therefore, beginning today, we hereby christen gender-confused surrender monkeys. You're welcome, American. Sorry, Jim, on my way to getting caffeinated. Yeah, that takes a little bit to get that caffeinated. Hitting that main vein is always difficult. It's always so difficult to get it. I did see something about this yesterday, and this is going to hit you guys really hard. The de-extinction of the dire wolf. Not so fast. Before we get into the big, not so big as you might think, news about the recent de-extinction of the dire wolves, I must confess how much I've wanted one. I learned about the Canis Diarrheas the same way so many other people did watching the first season of Game of Thrones. Giant friendly dogs that will rip the throats out of my enemies. Gimme. In real life, of course, the dire wolf would indeed be large, if not giant, but not at all friendly. The throat ripping is all too real, though dire wolves, which went extinct around 10,000 years ago, are believed to have diverged from other wolves millions of years ago. They're heavier, stockier, with broader jaws meant for crushing the bones of larger prey like mammoths. So they weren't a direct ancestor of today's domestic dogs or gray wolves. Dire wolves were their own bone-crushing specimens. And then, of course, they're back. Well, sort of. This week's Time magazine has a living, breathing dire wolfish on the cover underneath the word extinct. It's been crossed out with a red marker. Gorgeous, isn't it? But what about my long hope for a dire pup? Relying on deft genetic engineering and ancient preserved DNA, the team at Colossal Biosciences deciphered the dire wolf genome and rewrote the genetic code of the common gray wolf to match it. And using domestic dogs, its surrogate mothers brought Romulus, Remus, and their sister, 2-month-old Khaleesi, into the world. We are an evolutionary force at this point, said Beth Shapiro, Colossal's chief science officer, told Time, and she was, as the magazine put it, speaking for all of humanity. We're deciding what the future of these species will be. Time credits Colossal work with effectively, for the first time, de-extincting a line of beasts whose live gene pool long ago vanished. I'm not trying to be pedantic, but Colossal hasn't de-extincted the dire wolf. What they've done is to de-extinct dire wolf attributes into modern wolves, and that's precisely why I'm so excited about why they're done. What they've done. My 19-year-old son has said for years that when he gets his own place, he wants either a German Shepherd or a bear for a pet. But what if Colossal could split the difference when they splice the DNA? If you're an investor, imagine the commercial potential of a DNA splicing whose same extinct characteristics into a large, fully domesticated dog breed. If you're a dog lover who appreciates wolves raised and proudly, imagine the pet owning potential. It may well turn out that those otherwise desirable dire wolf attributes have the wild built in, and that grafting those genes into domestic DNA will result in undomesticated puppies. Colossal will want to breed and raise a few generations of dire dogs before going to market. Call me old-fashioned, but if my puppy is going to grow up to have a dire wolf's broad, bone-crushing jaws, that dog needs to be fully domesticated. Regardless of how it all pans out, whether Colossal can keep going and bring back woolly mammoths and the dodo bird, among other plans, I will always be grateful for the gorgeous wolf on the cover of Time, even if it isn't quite dire. Steve is hilarious. I love it. But we do have something here I wanted to show you. If I have it right here, it is Bill's creepiest.
Bill, welcome back. I always like having you on the show. I actually just thought of this seconds before it. I apologize. Here, I'll just put this.
Yeah, not funny. Utopian vision that prevails the technology recently site in which the drudgeries of human labor have been largely limited. We work days in a week if we work at all, and we live in peace and harmony and material abundance like the characters of Star Trek, free to pursue our passions and spread the neoliberal gospel across the galaxy. In reality, after human labor has been eradicated, these people who fancy themselves God, all sociopaths, almost by definition, certainly eugenists. Gates' father served as a Planned Parenthood board member, all the preeminent modern eugenics organization. I will look around and ask themselves, what do we all need of these useless eaters for? Gates, at one point in the interview, slips up and offers a glimpse at the true future role or lack thereof. Continuing, we'll decide, but ultimately we decide what the continued role of humans will be, he said. Like a baseball. We won't want to watch computers play baseball, Gates said. So there will be some things that we reserve for ourselves, but in terms of making things and moving things and growing food over time, those will basically be solved problems. We'll decide what needs humans for you. We understand. Who do you suppose we is in this scenario? Does that include you and me? Or does it mean Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, keeping in the mind that this is the same guy who literally sought to unilaterally authority to block out the sun for climate change and would have attempted it by now if he hadn't been reined in by more sensible, less brazen members of the power structure? Yeah, he's not that great of a guy, just so you know. Morning, Sherry. Good morning, Volstorm. Good to see you. I think I want to. I'll hit you up later because I do have something I want to go over with you. Maybe good. I think that'll work. Maybe sometimes that works. It is going to be, and this next one that I'm not bringing that. Nope, I'm not talking about it. There was something I was going to talk about, but It's not appropriate. Not for a morning stream. We need happier things like this. The golden age of AI governance is upon us. The golden age of AI governance appears to have dawned earlier this year, immediately following Trump's inauguration. OpenAI, arguably the preeminent American AI startup, announced ChatGPT Gov, a version of OpenAI's wildly popular ChatGPT service designed specifically for U.S. government agencies. Self-hosting ChatGPT Gov enables agencies to more easily manage their own security, privacy, and compliance requirements, such as stringent cybersecurity frameworks. Per OpenAI, ChatGPT Gov reflects our commitment to helping U.S. government agencies leverage OpenAI's technology today. Recent memos from the White House Office of Management and Budget takes us one step closer to the implementation of AI in the federal government, including the issuance of a 200-day deadline for the rollout of a web-based repository of AI procurement tools, which, according to the schedule, would mean implementation before the year end. April 4th, emphasis is added. The White House Office of Management and Budget released a pair of memos to provide agencies with guardrails for how they use and purchase artificial intelligence in the government, replacing Biden administration guidance but maintaining some of the same structures. Both memos, which are dated April 3rd, represent some of the first major policy actions President Donald Trump has taken on the government's use of AI. Trump began his administration by rolling back former President Joe Biden's AI executive order and later issuing one of his own that called for an AI action plan, a review of the previous administration's work on the technology. Specifically, the order included directions to revise the Biden's OMB's AI governance and acquisition guidance. The first memo, M-25-21, provides guardrails for the use and replaces Biden's directives in the same topic, M-24-10. The document states agencies are focused on three priorities when accelerating the federal use of AI: innovation, governance, and public trust, which align with the executive order on this technology for the first Trump administration. It also sets a 200-day deadline for the General Services Administration and OMB to create a web-based repository of AI procurement tools, which was suggested but not given a specific timeline in the Biden-era memo. Serious competition for AI.gov supremacy has erupted in startups jockeys for the position to land a forthcoming very highly lucrative government contracts. Specifically, it's OpenAI versus Doge boss Elon Musk's AI rival service Grok. Grok is hilarious. I would just say, I put some stuff in the other day, and oh my gosh, the stuff it came back with. I mean, let's put it this way: Grok had the impression that after I put in a few bits of information into it, that that Bruce has a warrant out for his arrest. Let's put it that way. No. Specifically, it's OpenAI versus Doge Musk. Oh, on Thursday, OpenAI submitted its proposal to the U.S. government, emphasizing the need for speed in AI advancement, light hand from regulators, while highlighting its take on the dangers of AI technology coming out of China. The proposal underscores OpenAI's direct effort to influence the government's coming AI action plan and tech strategy report to be drafted by the Office of Science and Technology Policy and submitted to President Trump in July. OpenAI, which as of last month was reportedly close to finalizing a $40 billion investment from SoftBank at a $260 billion valuation, is a precarious position with Trump's second White House, while the company was part of Trump's Stargate announcement and the billions of dollars of AI infrastructure investment tied to the plan. OpenAI is a heated legal and public relations battle with Elon Musk, who owns a rival AI startup and is one of Trump's top advisors. A couple of points. The adoption of AI as governance tool is probably inevitable, and it's a field of national security. The cost savings of strategic advantage it confers is too alluring to pass up. If the United States isn't in the driver's seat, that would leave China to rule the technosphere, which certainly wouldn't be good for America or any other nation state. So it's the nuclear arms race all over again, and no one wants to be left out in the cold. That said, there's very serious potential consequences for unleashing AI developed by private firms with their own interests on a government with a $6.9 trillion budget, a sprawling surveillance security apparatus, and advanced weaponry at its disposal. In order for AI to fulfill its promise, as espoused by OpenAI, of serving the national interest and the public good aligned with democratic values, it would have to be programmed and maintained with that as the prime directive, as it were. Does anyone really trust Sam Altman, Larry Ellison, or the weird Japanese midget billionaire who actually put AI to work for the public good as their primary objective? Has big tech earned that trust? I guess we will see. But with that, everyone, Tom Gillis, I can't spell Volstorm for some reason. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a totally hard one to be able to spell. Obviously. Yeah. Gates agreed with the population proposal on the Georgia Stones. They tore those down too. If I'm not mistaken, those got torn the hell down. They done gone away. They have done gone away. But with that, everybody, I am going to be heading out. I do, like I said, I have a long day ahead of me. I have beautiful things to do. And just remember, I will be back here tonight. Oh, it's going to be glorious. You have no idea how tonight's going to go. It's going to be so sweet. And probably with a new letter. And I do have 2 videos that will be coming out today. Just so you know, I have 2 of them that will be coming out. One of them I'm probably going to work on at lunch. The other one I'm going to work on after I finish here, which shouldn't take me too long. I've already got the videos created. I just have to splice them in the right place and all that kind of stuff. But you'll get a nice good little video. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be special. Just have no idea how it's gonna go. Thank you everyone for coming by, and I will see you guys tonight.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Oh yeah.
Go show Mo some